coming together. So
Good.
we're going to claim it. Don't forget to put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. We have two great guests coming to visit with us today. Two great guests coming on. So we're super excited to learn how to teach our children how to fish. Grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Some of you have great-grandchildren. Looking good, though. So definitely wanted to have Holly come on. So, hey, Sasha, great to see you. So I'm going to go on mute for a second just to get myself set up, and then I'll come right back to everybody.
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Hey, Tawana. Hey, Sheree. Hey, Dr. K. How y'all doing today?
Hey, Dr. Hishaw.
Okay, everybody. Hello and welcome, welcome. Don't forget to put your city and state in the chat so that we can recognize you. And I did confirm with our guest today, Holly, so I know she's going to be here any minute. But in the meantime, put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. We do have Indiana in the house. We've got North Carolina, Michigan in the house, Washington State. Sasha saying it's been a while. We've got
looks like Holly is in your chat, so you may want to.
Oh, Holly. Okay, let me get her then. She's using a different last name.
Hey, Talisha.
Hello.
And oh, Jillian is here too. So let me promote her. Perfect. So both of our guests are here. We've got DC, we've got Philly, we've got Florida, Texas, Memphis, Sacramento, California, Georgia, New Jersey, Alabama, Minnesota, Connecticut, New York, DMV, Northern Maryland, Virginia, California, Atlanta, New Jersey, Charlotte, Rhode Island. Hello and welcome to everybody. Welcome to the 10K chat. Oh, we have, sorry, 10K project. We have someone here from Suriname, the country. So welcome all the way from across the globe. We love it when we get the opportunity to talk to people from all over the diaspora. I want to welcome you to the 10K project. We're the nation's largest community of Black investors who fund alternative assets. And one of the top alternative assets that we're looking to fund are Black-owned businesses. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes, explain to you who we are, what we do. I'm going to let my co-founders introduce themselves for a really quick minute. And then we have two great guests on today. Our primary guest is Holly, who is here to talk about her book, Teach Your Child How to Fish. I'm going to say anybody who has young kids, please consider this as a stocking stuffer gift for your kids. Grandkids, great-grandkids, nieces, nephews, etc. I'm sure Holly's going to tell us how to get the book. We also have Jillian here from F.A.R.M.S, and that is an acronym. She's going to explain to us what she's doing, her project, etc. So we're super excited to have both of them here today. I'm going to share my screen really quickly, and This presentation literally is going to be 3 minutes. So the question is, can we as a community build Black wealth and help Black businesses? That is what we want to do. That is the mission of the 10K project. So businesses, all businesses need money to start and grow. However, our businesses are at a clear disadvantage. We have two major problems within the Black community. The first is Black businesses are least likely to be funded. And then number two is if those businesses are funded and they do really well, the community cannot participate in the business's growth and success. So what if the people, the community, could earn returns and share in the profits of its growing businesses? Thanks to the Jobs Act of 2012, Black entrepreneurs have another option to get the money that they so desperately need from everyday people. It is called the crowd, and what this is crowdfunding. We usually get the question, is this a SUSU? The answer is no. Is this a fund? The answer is no. This is specifically equity crowdfunding. The way that equity crowdfunding works is within the 10K project, if we are approved, because we're going through the process right now, equity crowdfunding is government regulated, and I'll explain that on the next slide. But entrepreneurs right now can raise up to $1,070,000. Starting January 2021, that amount is expected to go up to $5 million per raise. The business, if we're approved, we're setting it up where a business is able to apply, they're able to come and do something called a Bet on Black pitch for the community. It's similar to a Shark Tank style pitch. And you as the individual gets to decide if you want to invest in that company in exchange for partial equity or shares in the business. And the minimum investment is $100 on this platform that we have again proposed to the government that they let us run. If the company makes it big, the crowd shares in the profit. If not, investors only lose what they put into the company. The 10K project's name comes about because when 10,000 everyday people put $100 each into a business, that's $1 million. The community can fund the company, profit from its own innovation, create jobs, and build Black wealth. So that's where the 10K project name comes from. You can't just slap up a website and say, we're going to do equity crowdfunding. It is government regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission and FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Agency. So we filed our application. We've, have to get fingerprinted. Tawana and there's FBI background checks. Then Tawana and I will have to most likely go in front of the government and have an interview with them, plead our case, and prayerfully we will get approved. However, we have to say for legal purposes, we have not been approved yet. And if we are approved, this is what we're planning to do, but we cannot guarantee that we will get approved. We have hired counsel though, who has helped others through this equity crowdfunding process. So our ecosystem that we're building is partially based on Powernomics. If entrepreneurs come together with everyday people who are investors and also come together with service professionals, that's CPAs, attorneys, digital marketers, project managers, people that can help the businesses grow before and after they're funded, then we can build a true economic system, an ecosystem within the community. That's what we're looking to do. So we want to invite you to become a member. If you become a member, number one, you'll get VIP notifications about our application process. We send emails out twice a week. You can join the Black Family Wealth Challenge, which actually next week is the last live session we're going to have until February. You can, oh, that's not true. We have one in January. I take it back. You can also participate in members only wealth building webinars. We have our calendar events on our website. And we are very close to launching. We've already launched the beginning of our Knowledge Center. We have some other things to add to it, and that should be up and running by the end of the year. And we also have our business directory that should be up and running by the end of the year as well. It's a $100 payment, one-time lifetime payment, which is access for life to the 10K project. Also, final request, I'm going to put it in the chat. We are asking everyone here to complete the 2021 survey. We need to know from you what you need to learn in your wealth building journey so that you can have a successful, fiscally successful 2021. So again, I'm going to put that link in the chat. Takes 2 minutes for you to complete, but it will really help us. If you've already completed it, please don't complete it again, because that would be the person to do that. However, we are asking everybody to complete that so that we are able to know what educational content you need and other support you need in order to grow in 2021. So first of all, Tawana.
Ma'am.
Okay, Tawana, you're my backup. Did I leave anything out? Anything to add from a compliance or point of view or anything like that?
You covered everything.
Why don't you introduce yourself then?
My name is Tawana Rivers. I am the Chief Operating and Compliance Officer for the 10K Project.
Okay, Talisha?
Hello, everyone. I'm Talisha Shine. I am the Chief Technology Officer here at the 10K Project.
Eric?
Hi, everyone. Eric Spence. I am the Chief Business Development Officer here at the 10K Project.
And Dr. Keisha? If you're speaking, you're on mute. Okay, I guess she's not able to speak. Okay, all righty then. So we want to welcome our guest, Holly Reid. Funny story. I went to the Women's Business Conference a couple of years ago and literally was walking around just randomly. And this beautiful woman had her booth there, and it was Teach Your Child to Fish. Now, anytime I see a Black person, I try to go over anyway, right? Support. But then I said, oh, I've got to, get your book. We took a picture, put it on social media, and that was the beginning of our friendship. And a lot of us know that that's sometimes how stuff starts, right? So I've been wanting to have financial literacy information for young kids. Your 5-year-olds, your 4-year-olds, what kind of games you can play, things like that. And I reached out to Holly, and she said immediately, yes, I will come on and speak to the community. So she is here this evening to talk with us. Holly, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Introduce yourself and give us your intro of how do we teach our kids to fish.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Holly Reid Tootle. I'm a CPA based here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am CEO and Chief Financial Educator for the Master Playbook. And so the Master Playbook is a financial education and wellness company that targets families. So I target the kids, the next generation. So I want to empower the parents, but also teach and educate the next generation so that they can avoid the financial pitfalls that we may have faced coming up. And really so that they will become millionaires, future millionaires, far faster and more efficiently than we did or will be. So I'm claiming that for everybody on the call. If you're not a millionaire yet, we're still striving, and we want to practice that for our kids. And so this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, specifically because of all the mistakes that I made as an adult. Now, listen, y'all, I'm a CPA, majored in accounting, and I still didn't know how to manage my money well when I graduated from school. And so you hear these stories over and over, not only in the celebrity world, not only on the reality TV shows, but this is real life. And a lot of it is repetitive, is us making the same mistakes over and over again. But it's because it's hard for us to master something we've never been taught. And so my goal, my objective, my mission is to close that financial literacy gap for this next generation. So again, they can achieve things far faster than we could have ever achieved in our lifetime.
So tell us more, like dive into your book. What do we do?
Absolutely. So I kicked it off. God put a fire in my heart, would not let it go until I finished this book. And so the book is called Teach Your Child to Fish, 5 Money Habits Every Child Should Master. The book is actually written to the parent. So the book addresses parents, what it is you can do. What are the foundational building blocks? What are those 5 money habits that you can concentrate on and really make sure your child masters before they leave the nest? Now, don't leave the children out, because the book comes with a supplemental workbook with the same title, but the workbook is filled with templates, activities, different things that they can do to reinforce the money habits that I talk about in the book. Now, that was just the beginning. It has since expanded to flashcards for our kids to help them learn the money language. It has since expanded to money camps for kids, where during each quarter, I take kids between the ages of 8 to 14 and teach them. So, because I understand some adults are really intimidated by it. They're like, I'm making these money mistakes right now, so I feel like a hypocrite trying to tell them. So why don't you teach them, and then I'll reinforce it at home. So I do it for you if you need me to, over a 4-week period, where we take the kids through the 5 money habits. And I'm going to share those with you guys. So the first one is work hard and be rewarded. This is where we want our kids to associate the work that they do with the reward on the other end, right? So not only in the home by being a contributing member to your family, but being a good student and being, introducing them to entrepreneurship. And let me say that about this, because since I'm speaking to a group of entrepreneurs, a lot of us are first generation entrepreneurs, right? And we don't want to be in a situation building another job for ourselves. What we want to do is start building things we can pass on, right? Building legacies that we can pass on. So even if your child doesn't want to do the exact thing that you are building right now, there will likely be financial assets, and you want them to use those things wisely and be good stewards over those things once you leave it behind, if they don't continue on the blueprint that you were laying out, right? And so that's the first money habit, is work hard, be rewarded, introducing them to entrepreneurship, feeding their entrepreneurial spirit, because we know, just like a lot of our therapeutic issues and problems we have as adults, a lot of their passions start as kids too. So we as adults have to pay attention to the things that they are gravitating to, pay attention to the things that bring them joy, and encourage them and push them right along. Because there are so many kids, like nowadays, I grew up in a traditional family where I was told, Holly, go to school, get a good job. You work 30 years, you retire from that good job, and then you can reap the benefits of your labor. But today, these kids can have an iPhone and a YouTube channel and monetizing it, doing reviews of products, or giving their opinion on different games, or showing other kids how to unlock the next level to the game. So it is phenomenal what they can do at their age. And so we really want to instill that in them. All right, the second money habit is save first and consistently. So this may be the most difficult money habit of all, because it requires self-control and self-discipline, right? And when you live in a world where you can open up an app, press a button, and it's a package the very next day at your door, it's really hard to teach them patience, right? It's really,
And now it's the same day.
yeah, exactly. It's really hard to really show them that. So it's something we have to make them practice and make them feel. And so I give lots of examples in the book of how this can be done. But just starting with your youngest ones, the key is you got to make it fun. Like, gamify this thing. We know that every state in the US has a quarter, like, of its own, right? You pick up a quarter, you got Georgia on the back. Pick up a quarter, you got South Carolina on the back. Make it a game and involve the whole family, where the goal is to collect all 50 quarters, right? And then take that and go deposit it in a bank account. you get all 50, rinse and repeat. Let's start. So with the middle ones, it's all about, I say make a big deal when they turn 13 to say, hey, you're a teenager now. And with becoming a teenager requires more responsibilities. So that means all this money that you're getting from Christmas, all this money you're getting from birthdays and graduations and all this stuff. Now I need you to put it in a bank account. We're going to watch that money grow, right? So making it a really big deal, almost like a rites of passage for them to open up that bank account and then teaching them how to read bank statements. Because listen, y'all, our kids may be the first generation to actually live in a cashless society. And we're not far from it now because our world now is teaching them how to dip, swipe, tap to get to stuff, right? People rarely carry cash. So I believe this is like a critical point where we need to let them feel it, see it, have a physical reaction to giving up their money. Because look, they spend your money like this, like never ending, right? And so we want to take the opportunity while we still have physical cash and coins to really teach them these things. So that's your middle child. I would say for teenagers, you know, as they get older, they start asking for expensive things. They want to get their learner's permit. And when the world opens back up, they want to do all this hair and nails for prom and all these things, but they need to have some skin in the game. So you need to set up a contract to say, okay, yeah, you can have all those things, but here's the deal. You save half of it, and then I may gift you the other half. But you got to have some skin in the game and make it something that they really care about. Make them save for things that they really care about. So that's saving first and consistently. The third money habit is spending wisely and consciously. And so again, we are living in this digital space where they are being constantly bombarded with, you know, all this advertisement, the cookies following you from site to site. You can't even watch a movie now without all the product placement and everything just telling them and trying to influence them what they need to purchase. And so we want our kids to be woke when they are spending their money. And what I also, so it has a dual meaning. So I address, you know, being wise about the marketing traps and tactics. We talk about that, but I also talk to them about the power of their dollar, the power of them spending, and all of this mess was going on with Trump being president and all of these brands just giving out blatant advertisements that were disrespectful to people of color, specifically to Black people. I can run them off from H&M to Gucci with the sweater that looked like blackface. You can just roll them off, right? And so they need to be conscious about this and know, hey, you have a choice. If somebody disrespects you or if their values don't align with what you believe in and what you're striving for, then you talk back with your dollar and you don't have to spend with them. Not only you can write a letter, share your voice, make your voice heard, but you can also spend your money differently to make a real impact. So that's spending wisely and consciously. We talk about using credit responsibly. And I'm like, they're like, Holly, why are you teaching the babies about credit cards? Because they already know about credit cards. They watching us swipe and tap and dip all over the place without seeing any money actually exchanging hands. And they need to understand. Every year I do a workshop with high school students going into who are interested in going into the accounting and finance profession. And it blows my mind. Those kids can't tell me the difference between a debit card and a credit card. Yet they are getting ready to make some of the most expensive, you hear me? The most expensive decisions of their lifetime, meaning what college am I going to? What career, what profession am I going to pursue? Because all of that ties together and is going to really dictate what kind of lifestyle they're going to live at the end of the day. So we talk about credit cards. We talk about how gift cards are just credit cards with training wheels. They're teaching you how to track how much money you have on the card. They're teaching you about taxes. You got a nice round $20 gift card, but you can't buy something for $20 because you have to think about taxes, right? And so So that's using credit wisely or responsibly. And then the final money habit is to give generously. And again, it's so important for us to teach our kids at very young ages to have empathy, to have compassion, to show them that we didn't get where we are on our own. No, I don't believe anybody is a self-made anything. We all need one another. And so we have to start planting those seeds and teaching them early how to give back to others, how to share with others who don't have the resources that they may have. And so this is all kind of bundled up in the book. But of course, when I'm live with them, I'm able to give them some real relevant, relatable, tangible examples in the moment that makes them say, huh, okay, I think I understand. Or, oh, and then it just creates an opportunity or a window for us as adults to really start having these money conversations with them earlier and sooner in life. You know, tell them what you do. Tell them what you love about your job. Tell them what you love about the business that you created. And then get them involved. There are ways that you can get your kid, your child, your nieces, your nephews involved in the things that you're doing so that they'll know the importance of it and also the impact that you're making as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. So I have one final question, then I'm going to pass it off to some of my co-hosts here, and that is grandparents. We have a lot of grandparents in the audience who are, you know, setting up family banks and doing all sorts of things, trust accounts and things like that for grandkids, but they may not see them every day, not living necessarily under the same roof. How do grandparents and aunts and people who don't live under the same roof as the kids still pass on some of those money habits to them?
Yes, so every opportunity you can. I mean, you have as grandparents, as aunts and uncles, you have to build those relationships with your kids. And you have to talk to the parents as well to figure out ways that you can insert yourself in their routine. Because I know every family, they have a routine, they got a lot going on. They playing baseball on the weekends, traveling for this and that. So you have to figure out a way to insert yourself. But one of the easiest ways to do it is through our tradition of gift giving, right? So there are so many, I named them birthdays, Christmas, Kwanzaa, celebrations when report cards might be coming out. But use this as an opportunity to start gifting them assets, to start gifting them things that will open their eyes and give them exposure to money and to wealth building. And so I actually created a whole holiday gift guide that you can download now if you were to go to any of my social media accounts, where it's filled with wealth building gifts, whether that's gift cards to stockpile.com, where you can go and buy gift cards so your niece, nephew, grandchild can buy stock, right? Instead of going and buying a pair of Nikes, they can go buy Nike stock. So things like that, or educational things, and then following up with them. Like for me, my nieces and nephews, I gifted them the book and the workbook, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna call you next weekend and we're gonna talk about chapter 1. So make sure you read chapter 1 because I'm gonna ask you some questions. But I incentivize them. Yeah, I manipulated a little bit, be like, okay, now if you answer my questions right, you might get something on the other end of that. And so then that gets them excited, it gives them an incentive to be like, Auntie Holly says she gonna give me something, so let me read, let me read this book.
Exactly. Actually, I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and there's this very, very big influencer, Gary V. And Gary Vaynerchuk, for everybody who knows him. Gary V is who he's called. And the person who is being interviewed says that Gary V would offer his kids' friends, I guess money is I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, like incentives is what they called it, to read the books with him. And that way he wouldn't be the only one, like his kids wouldn't be the only ones reading it. And if his kids felt like it was cool to if the friends felt like it was cool to be doing it, then his kid would feel like it as well. I thought that was so
I like
interesting,
that.
innovative. Even if you just say, hey, I'm going to take you and your best friends to, like, I don't know, well, you can't do restaurants these days, but whatever it is that they like to do socially, but we're going to talk about this before you all go and, roller skate or whatever it is that you do. You in that way they're friends, because their friends can sometimes be more of an influence than even they, themselves are.
Absolutely, especially in that middle school age bracket. They
Yeah.
it's so easy for them to succumb to peer pressure and to be influenced because they see their friends with the latest earpods. They want the latest.
Mm-hmm.
They're friends with the latest video game or video console, then they want that too. And so it is that I think that's brilliant actually to talk to the friends, see if you can get a pool of like-minded parents to really do something about it. And I will say there are organizations out there who are doing a great job with that. I work frequently with different chapters of Jack and Jill, Girl Scouts, where they will invite and bring me in to come and talk to the girls, even if it's just we focus on one lesson. But it doesn't take a lot of time, which is why I created the flashcards. Because typically 5 minutes a day, they can pick a card out of a basket, and we're gonna talk about this card for 5 minutes. Tell me what you know, what you think you know. I'm gonna share. It's an opportunity for you to share your values around money. So that they get that too, because people have different opinions about money, how it should be spent, how it should be saved, how it should be invested. So it's really important that parents be their kids' first financial advisor. They need to hear it at home before they pick up, poor habits, incorrect information from everywhere else.
Well, so many people want to reach out to you. So I did put your website, themasterplaybook.com, and then there's a shop page, and you all are able to find Holly's books, and she's got flashcards and all sorts of other stuff. She also has ways that you could work with her. So definitely themasterplaybook.com if you all are interested. I want to open it up to my co-founders here for any additional questions that they have.
Holly, what's the age range for the book? What's a good age range? Starting at what age up to what age?
Yeah, so I give the advice for school age kids. So whether that's 4, like pre-K, all the way to they are out of your house, 18 traditionally, but we know they stay longer. And if they do leave, you can guarantee they
They're coming back at least once.
That's the truth. Holly, I wanted to ask you a question, and my goodness, you have figured out so many great things. I love it. I absolutely love what you've done. But I wanted to ask you, do you have plans for like future proofing this whole idea of what's next and fintech and all of that kind of thing? Have you thought about those kinds of things?
I have thought about it, and it's a lot going on in this financial space. And there are individuals like there's a sister out of New York. Her name is Tanya, and I'm gonna kick myself because I don't remember her last name. But her product is called Goal Setter, and Goal Setter is an app that you can download, and it allows families to like instead of your kids just sending out a wish list of Dollar Tree toys that you guys are going to throw away or crush or tear up, the friends and family can actually money to be invested in the child's 529 plan, to be invested in an IRA account for the child, but it's called Goal Setter. If you download the app, it also gives not only an opportunity for you to invest for the child, but it gives financial education as well. So the very things that I'm including on my flashcard, she has it in the app for the kids to kind of unlock levels. I think is phenomenal and genius. And I love Tanya, and I cannot think of her last name right now. But if you guys go to goalsetter.co, you should be able to check it out. But there are so many things. Oh, the other thing that Goal Setter just did is they launched a debit card for the kids. So just like I've heard of other ones, I'm familiar with ones like Greenlight or Bamboo, but Goal Setter also has one, and I want to say it's called Cashola. I think that's correct. And basically, you can give your child, your teen, however you run your family, a debit card linked to an account or a pool of money, so you can kind of monitor and teach them along the way, which I think is also brilliant. So yes, I have not personally created an app. I would love to, but I have not yet. But yes, you guys definitely check out Goal Setter.
Yeah, I hope you guys partner because you just gave her a nice plug.
Yeah, I was
That's
thinking
family, that's
affiliate.
family.
Adult, you don't have to
I
create
know,
it.
at least be affiliate at least.
Look, there is plenty for all of us.
Amen.
That's
I'm
Amen.
here to support.
That's
Her
funny.
last name is Tanya Van Court. So you heard it here first.
All right. I love it. Talisha or Eric, do either of you have questions?
Questions
I
at
do have a
this time,
question.
I would just say that I have an 18-year-old senior who is doing econ at this very moment, and we're having a lot of discussions. Yeah, but we've done all those practices. Like we've collected the quarters specifically from each mint. So she had to collect not only 50, but you have to do more at double because it's 2 different mints. We've done that over time. She's a gymnast. So she's very conscientious of money because gymnastics is a very expensive sport. So she got to see the comma numbers that rolled in from each season that we have spent over the 15 years that she's been a gymnast.
Look, I'm so glad you said that because a lot of parents, they just pay the money. The kid has no idea how much it costs for them to compete and to be a part of these teams and squads and competitions.
Oh, yes. Well, she saw it and I said, you see everything. Well, we have a separate account for it specifically, but then she gets to see, I'm like, there's commas in those numbers. These numbers aren't just like $2.50. I wish there
Right.
the decimal is way off in that number. But that's it. And again, I think getting jobs, we talk about, what children do. And you made a really good point that I love is that, find out what they're interested in. My daughter is a gamer. She's been into esports for a very long time. So her first job was streaming on Twitch. So instead of her going out and, the world's not open for her to get a real job, this was her real job. And she does that. Yeah, that's what she does in the house. And I'm like, she's asking me questions like, I need my social security number. And what is this tax thing that they do? I'm like, yeah, girl, real stuff. Yeah, you got paid a little and they're going to take a little.
Right.
You can't get up. She's like, they said 20 and I got 1631. Welcome to Virginia state tax. Those are those things I think, but we are so conscientious. I think sometimes we try to make our children do exactly what we did, and we're generations apart. I'm 30 years older than my daughter.
It's so different.
The world is a completely different place, and their opportunities are very wide and array, and it's not to duplicate our experience, nor is it to duplicate the hardship. Why would you want to make somebody go through it like, oh, I suffered and it made me start? No, it didn't. It just made you go through it. you don't have to replicate trauma or hardship for somebody to learn a lesson. You can teach somebody the lesson.
Absolutely. I love that.
Somebody has a question in here. Rick is saying,
one of my mottos is teach everything you know. The good, the bad, like the parents who are like, oh, but I'm making money mistakes. There's a lesson in that.
That's right.
The mistake and what the consequence was of it, and maybe that will help them avoid it in the future.
Rick has a really quick question. In regards to Talisha's story, what would you recommend to prepare for paying for sports activities and saving for college?
Yes, so for saving for college, start as soon as you can. So I don't care if it's if your child is a newborn. Start now putting away something. It doesn't have to be a lot because the power of compound interest is going to help you out quite a bit. And so whether that's a 529 plan or whether that's putting it in an IRA in their name, so a Roth IRA in their name, right? So the Roth IRA, there are a couple of things you can do with the Roth IRA. So we are typically familiar with it as a in retirement tool. When we turn 59 and a half, we can get everything that the account has actually grown. But you can also use it for qualified education expenses. You can use it for first-time home buyer. So start putting money in a Roth IRA for your child, and it doesn't count against your child's, I think, student loan calculation. So when they get ready to go to college and qualify for financial aid, they do look at your students' assets. So, but they don't look at assets for retirement. And so technically, the Roth IRA is for retirement. It just has these other ways that you can get the money out. But that's one of the little cheat codes of the tax code. So that's one recommendation to start saving for college. In order to start paying for sporting activities, like I said, start getting some skin in the game and asking for help. These people are buying our kids all kind of crap, and you could just be like, you know what? He could use a new baseball bat. Let's create a baseball bat fund for this child.
That's right.
Using things like goal setters, start using technology to share the wealth. It takes a village to raise our children, and that comes financially too, not just with all your wisdom and experience and all the hugs and love. We need that too, but we need some money too.
So so Antoine, I see your question. I know there are other people that have questions. I do want to get to Jillian because she has a really great story. And then, if we need to stay another 10 minutes in order to make sure questions are answered, we will. But Jillian is the leader of something called F.A.R.M.S. It is Family Agriculture Resource Management Services. It's a charitable organization that offers legal and technical services to aging farmers while reducing hunger in the farming community through the 30,000 Acres Food Bank Program. And she has done a lot of work with regards to our farmers, keeping our land and asset protection for our farmers, fighting for our farmers. When I heard her story, I said, we can't wait till next year. Let's get her up here now. One of the interesting things in the survey, the member survey, is that a lot of you asked for more sessions on how we can buy land. Some of it may come from buying land from our aging farmers and just making sure it's kept in the community. And then how can we expand that land, et cetera. So I felt like this was a very important topic. So Jillian, I'm going to give you the floor for 5 minutes. You are also an attorney as well, an agriculture attorney. So, 5 minutes, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you're doing and how we as individuals can help you in your cause.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, everybody, for having me along with Ms. Cherie. My name is Jillian Hishaw. I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri. I am an ag attorney with an LLM in agricultural law, and I've been working particularly with Black farmers for the past 15 years. So primarily, I've worked for USDA within the Office of Civil Rights under the Obama administration, and also with Missouri Department of Conservation and the City of Kansas City as an environmental planner. Most of the work is focused on land justice and environmental justice issues. 7 years ago, I founded Family Agriculture Resource Management Services, abbreviated F.A.R.M.S. We have 3 different programs. Of course, the first program is our legal services that we primarily provide to aging Black farmers, particularly in the Southeast. And that focuses on USDA civil rights complaints. Also, it focuses on boundary line disputes with their white neighbor. Also, tax liens. For example, in October, I gave $5,100 to the Geechee Gullah community in Hilton Head to save 12 Gullah cemeteries from a tax lien. It just magically appeared this year. There's now being charged a sewer fee for the Gullah cemeteries. And so that incurred a fee, which led to a tax lien. So all 12 cemeteries were saved from the lien, and then 8 other family-owned properties. And as you all know, Hilton Head is now very robust white Gulf community, but it used to be Black owned during post-Reconstruction, and they just gave that land to Black folk because it was nothing but swampland. But then in the 80s, real estate agents realized, oh, you know, this is oceanfront property. And so they have been steady taking the land. And so also the average age of my farmers between 80, my oldest, she's just turned 95 in Georgia. And another issue is Medicaid liens. That's why I wrote this book 2 years ago, Don't Bet the Farm on Medicaid. People don't realize that when you qualify for Medicaid and you enter, whether your parent or yourself, into a nursing home, the nursing home down the street has the federal, not only the state, but the federal authority to put a lien on your land and on your house. So if you were raised off Prospect like me in the city, and your grandparents' house, they can put a lien on that house and they can force the sale in what's called a Medicaid lien. And it's two types of states. There's post-death and pre-death. Pre-death is when they'll put the lien on the land or the house when you're still living in the nursing home. And then they'll force the sale while the elder is still living. And so these are things to consider. There are certain state exemptions, like for example, in Florida, you can exempt up to 160 acres plus the homestead, which is great because Florida has the highest number of seniors in that state. And also predatory lending. In 2015 in Chester, South Carolina, my first case was saving a fourth or fifth generation farm from a predatory lender, reverse mortgage. And so in order to qualify for a reverse mortgage, you have to be 62 and over. And people don't realize as they get older that it's just kind of like a payday loan. And so when the brother died, the mother didn't know that he put the reverse mortgage on the house, but the family had the money to pay the mortgage. But guess what they wanted? They wanted the land. They didn't want the house because they knew that the land was worth more than the house. And so we forced the company to take the land, and then we saved both. But then we started looking at the family's deeds, and the deed was still in the slaveholders, the family slaveholders' name from the late 1860s, 70, and they never updated the deed. And you'd be surprised, that's fairly common, unfortunately. And so the second program is our food bank program, where I write grants, raise money, and I pay my farmers, which are 90% specialty crop or produce farmers, for their produce that will usually be composted. So I know at the beginning of the year, you saw farmers dumping out milk and plowing over potatoes. That's fairly common. And they do that quite frequently. And so what I do is that I'll buy the produce and then it's all donated in rural Black, primarily Black communities in the Southeast, but we also have started working all over in California, Colorado. We also have operations in Sierra Leone. We've been supporting a girls' orphanage with purchasing local produce from the farmers in Sierra Leone. And now we're partnering with the farm group to grow produce for both orphanages that we've been supporting over the past year. We've been working in Haiti off and on since 2015. And then we just built a cold storage facility in Trinidad for the farmers in Arima, Trinidad. And we've been purchasing produce and giving it out in the mountain areas in Trinidad during the COVID. But they are having really good numbers. They're on really lockdown, and so they don't have much COVID there. And so the third program is our Farmers Relief Fund. The first 4 years, it was focused on providing a book scholarship to a child or a grandchild of a Black farmer that was majoring in ag science at Tuskegee University, which is where I got my biology degree. But since then, we've converted that program over to a relief fund for farmers. This year, we've divvied out about $80,000, and last year we divvied out about $12,000. A lot comes into play with us paying for medical bills, with us purchasing input costs, because USDA within RMA does not honor particularly Black farmers' crop loss claims. And so as climate change rears its ugly head, USDA is not honoring those crop loss claims. And so we provided this this fund for farmers to purchase, so we can give them money to purchase seed and fertilizer to plant in the spring and in the fall. We also have paid for, just for example, in February, we paid for a farmer in Mississippi to stop the injunction of foreclosure. Now, this farmer's foreclosure started in February, but it was based on a loan from the 1970s. And so, you know, with the Black farmers lawsuit, there was supposed to be a moratorium on those foreclosures, but no, non-existent. And more Black farmers lost land under Obama than Bush. And that's not a good track record. And don't even get me started on Trump. And so when it comes to Black farmers, they are a dying breed, unfortunately. I have been working on the Justice for Black Farmers Act that was released by Senator Biden, Booker, and Gillibrand. And although I didn't draft the bill, I have been working with various of their people to kind of plug the holes here. And there are a few holes that needs to be plugged with that. Now, I did just write systematic land theft, and I wrote this as a textbook. I started writing that book in 2007, and I created a class in 2009 at University of Missouri, Kansas City. And it's just based on the history of land theft in this country and how Europeans have stolen our land. And also I included case studies, review chapter questions. The book is primarily also for the public, but also written for law schools and land grant universities like Tuskegee, Arkansas State, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And so people don't realize that the 5 civilized tribes, which include the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Seminole, and a few more, but they own slaves. They own my great-great-grandmother. And I talk about how why I do this work is because my great-great-grandmother and grandfather were taken advantage of by a dishonest lawyer in Oklahoma, and we were sending him money to pay the taxes on the land, but he stole the money and the land was sold in a tax lien sale. So my grandfather's house used to be, my elders have told me, there's an oil pump going up and down because the land had known oil deposits. So when you get into buying land, you have to read the fine print. Always remember that when you buy land, look at the deed and make sure that the mineral rights have not been sold previously, because there's 3 components to owning land. There's the air that's above you. You own that airspace. And then there's the land, the soil, the dirt. But, you know, we need to start treating it like soil, not dirt. And then what's underneath that soil, and that's the mineral rights. And oftentimes, you know, they'll sell the mineral rights. I mean, but I've worked on cases in Louisiana where the family will refuse to sell the mineral rights. And so the white neighbor will will basically drill a pipe on his land and then cipher the oil out from the Black folks on land. And so these are things that you really need to take into consideration when you're purchasing land. Please visit 30,000acres.org. I named the website 30,000 Acres because we lose 30,000 acres per year in land ownership in the Black community. And so these are really things to consider. You know, 97% of land in this country is owned by whites, and we own less than 1% of that land, equivalent to 4.5 according to the 2017 USDA census that came out April of last year. And so I know that, you know, I have limited time, but I just wanted to get on and introduce F.A.R.M.S to you all. And thank you so much for having me, Ms. Cherie, as well as the other panel.
Yeah, so first of all, someone asked if you can light yourself a little bit better. I don't know if you have a lamp in front of you.
Yeah, I was trying to like move around. Let me try to go to another.
Oh, no, don't go anywhere then. If it were like right there, I would say put it on.
Yes.
I don't know about anybody else. Stuff like this makes me mad.
Oh, I know. I am like,
Yeah, like
not in my chest.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I just want to say, because this is an issue near and very close to my heart, because my late father was a farmer. And
Oh, wow.
And yes, and you know, if he was alive today, he would be 101. So all of these issues you're talking about are issues that are very close to me. Same things happened to him, lost his land, was taken from him, in these same sort of schemes that you're talking about. All of this I know, to the point that later in his life, he had children, he had us later in his life, there wasn't a land that he owned. We would rent it and then he would farm it. And that's how he did it. So I know this very well. One thing that in 2010, there was that settlement that was with the Black farmers. And
yeah, so that was Pickford v. Glickman, and it was two class action settlements, Pickford 1 and then Pickford 2. And unfortunately, with Pickford 1 claimants were original farmers. I know of a farmer that since 1997, he's been living in a trailer, and the USDA federal government is garnishing his Social Security check, his disability check, his VA check, because he fought for that case. And a lot of those original claimants have not been made whole. Pickford 2 was supposed to do that, but again, under the Obama administration, it did not. And unfortunately, a lot of those checks went to farmers that had already passed, and it was split like 20 different ways. And they also had to pay taxes on that $50,000. And so it was supposed to be a moratorium, but it was no moratorium. It was a 13% foreclosure rate within the Obama administration, when we represent 3% of farmers within USDA that are farming. And so, these things need to be considered. And it's not the administration. It could be Republican or Democrat. It's just that Black farmers are not valued. And according to the research within the Justice for Black Farmers Act, within the next few years, 17,000 farms are going to go out of business, and only 32,000 are, in operation with the principal farm operator. And so these are so many different things to consider that, Black farmers are going to be Black history within the next decade, by 2030. And so, if you know of a Black farmer, if you're close to a Black farmer, please support. Right now, I've started purchasing caskets. Last week, I gave $1,500 to a farmer's funeral services that died of COVID. And 7 farmers in August died because they were at a card party of COVID. And so this is another thing that's just ravaging the rural Black community at the moment, because there are no health services hardly within these areas. And, one farm town, they just got the internet 2 years ago. And so people need to realize that a lot of my farmers, they don't have running water. There's still an outhouse in use. They don't have electricity, an indigenous population that I'm working with in Northern California, and they don't have the internet. And so, these are third world countries within our community that need to be supported. And, this urban ag stuff, they're supporting, left and right. But what about the Black farmer? What about the traditional rural Black farmer? And that's all we focus on is rural. We don't deal with that urban ag stuff. We only deal with true Black farmers. I say acres, not city lots, because it's value in acres.
Thank you.
So I do want to say that if you go to Jillian's website, it's 30,000acres.org. You are also able to donate. And I pledge to donate sometime this week. I'm going to actually put it on my to-do list, and I'm encouraging any and everyone else who feels it in their heart to do that. Another thing is, you mentioned the reverse mortgages. One of the things we learned last week within the family bank sessions was how to invest in debt. Maybe it's time for us to start investing in the reverse mortgages for our Black farmers, because obviously this Black farmer needed the money for something. I doubt he was out there living it up in a Lamborghini, right? But if we are able to say, no, come to us, when you die, we're not going to screw your family over, then that could be something that we can do to help as well. Yeah. I think that there are things that we can do within the 10K project, within, if we're approved, the equity crowdfunding, where we are able to help with some of the agricultural issues that that Jillian is talking about. And, you know, maybe it takes a couple of think tank sessions for us to come up with some ideas. But, you know, as somebody whose great grandmother was born and raised, actually both sides of my family in Louisiana on rural land, I don't like the fact that our land is being stolen from us. We
Yeah,
already are at a disadvantage. So we have so many
Louisiana,
questions here too. Go ahead, Jillian. I'm sorry.
Louisiana is a unique state. I mean, there was one case that I don't know if you've heard of the Provost, but they're well known now. They were part of the 1619 project, and I helped on that case before they got a lot of publicity here. But the husband's signature was forged on a loan. And based on that forgery, you know, their house and their farm was foreclosed on. And so these are the things that are also happening in Louisiana. And it's just a travesty that, you know, these types of cases are going on. And, you know, just being a lawyer, you can't not trust a lawyer. And I don't trust many. And so,
We can trust you, right? You're a
yes,
lawyer.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But it's hard because when you're dealing with land, black and white, you know, folks get salivating at the mouth when it comes to land. And a lot of these farmers, you know, don't trust lawyers. And so that's why I offer my services pro bono or low bono, because it has to be trust there, you know, with the farmers.
Yeah, and I mean the farmers don't have $3.25 an hour times however many hours to,
Exactly.
you know, to pay for lawyers. So we definitely want to support Jillian and her you know, her nonprofit as well, because she has to live too. So, you know, Holly is asking here, Holly Reid, does title insurance cover any of this risk?
Not really. You have to have a crop insurance. So, and crop insurance is basically regulated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And so even if you have a third party independent crop insurer, they're all regulated under risk management agency within USDA. And so it all goes back to that. I would love to create, you know, an independent crop insurance agency that's not, you know, federally regulated. But unfortunately, I don't have the money to do that. But yeah, that's definitely needed. But a lot of the farmers now use the relief fund as crop insurance coverage, where if they lost their crop due to a hurricane or whatever, then they go to the relief fund and you know, fill out the form, and then we give them money that way.
Yeah, I mean, the chat is on fire. So many people are, you know, behind you saying that you're a trustworthy person. People are saying they've signed up to donate monthly. You know, certain people are saying that they're looking to buy acres for next Juneteenth. We have Talisha here who's saying that she's reached out to Lamar Wilson, who would be a great resource. And maybe there are some things that you and Lamar can do together if you don't know who Lamar Wilson is.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so we'll make sure to connect the two of you. There was another question here. Let's see here. It was further up. Oh yes, Kevin, okay. Jillian, is there a government program which allows private citizens to invest or purchase these lands prior to foreclosure? Or can we pay the tax lien and then accrue the land and then rent it back to the farmer, create a partnership? Is there money within the USDA in loans to purchase these lands?
Yeah, there is a way to do it. So it would have to be done on a private partnership type basis, where you would go to the farmer and you would say, hey, you know, let's refinance. And so you would pay off the loan and then refinance, you know, under, you know, a private venture there. But when it comes to paying the tax liens, that's definitely what we've been doing. And so again, going back to South Carolina in October, we pay the tax liens for the GOLA properties and all these things. But what we do is that the farmers have come to become dependent on farms or me to pay their taxes. And I've gotten to the point where no, you got to contribute something, because, you know, you see them at the Golden Corral, you see them getting their nails done. Well, not the women, but, you know, their hair. And I'm like, well, you know, that could have went towards the taxes, because as we all know, when the land is in an agriculturally zoned area, the taxes are like 75%. Like they're really cheap. And so, you know, you can have 100 acres and only owe $500. And so, you know, that is also another incentive towards owning acres and not city lots. And so, you know, there's things that the farmer has to have some type of skin in the game and feel invested, that I've definitely learned over the years. And so now, you know, meet me halfway, meet me 25%. But unfortunately, this is my 15th year doing this, and this is the worst year as far as Black land loss, because mostly Black and brown folks lost their jobs. And when you lose your jobs, you know, you can't pay the property tax, whether it's a house or land. And so because of that, it's a lot of land loss right now. And if you all know that tax liens are cyclic. So the first quarter is out west coast, and then the second quarter is Idaho, Montana, mountain area. The third quarter, it's the Midwest, and then the fourth quarter, it's always the East Coast, Southeast. And so right now, land is being lost on a daily rapid basis, even more than the 30,000 acres that we lose annually each year, primarily because of COVID.
Right. Well, we need to capture some of that back. I want to open it up to the rest of the panel, and then we do have another question for Holly that I think is a good one. So anybody else has a question for Jillian? Discussion.
Yes, I have a question. I wanted to know what help could we provide to you? You know, what would be critical right about now? I know you mentioned we can donate and things like that. What would be a critical item right now that regular folks could do to help out your efforts?
Definitely helping with marketing, because people don't realize really what's going on. And, you know, I try to do marketing myself and hire people here and there when the budgets allow, but definitely marketing that we're losing 30,000 acres in land and Black land ownership per year. And then also definitely supporting Black farmers. And I'm talking about Black farmers in the rural community, you know, outside of the cities. And then also just donating to our, you know, relief fund or our food bank fund, because right now those two programs are the most
depleted.
I don't know. Yeah. Yes, but they're the most requested. You know, on the website right now, it says the fund is closed. Well, that's because I was getting 30 requests a day. And it was primarily from white farmers out west that had PhD behind their names, that were hobby farmers, and they weren't true farmers. And so I closed it down because I want the money to go to where it's needed. And right now it's really needed in the Black farming community. And, you know, we've given to Asian and Hmong, and, you know, we support a Native rural community, and again, Northern California and all these things. But we definitely need to support the Black farmers, not only in the States, but we're also supporting in Sierra Leone. And they can't grow food right now because of drought and grasshoppers. So it's definitely, you know, something to consider as we move forward, because we're not only national, but we also help farmers in Africa and Trinidad and India.
So Jillian, when you say help the farmers, what does that mean? How do I even find Black farmers? Is there a directory? I mean, how can I make it personally to help?
There's a new site called the Black Farmers Index, and it lists a list of Black farmers. also, I can refer you to a few farmers that if you would like to support right now. Well, 80%, 80 to 90% of my farmers are produce farmers. And so right now, they're kind of in the lull, they're beginning the lull season, and they'll start farming at the end of March, first part of April. And so right now they really don't have much to provide outside of collards and sweet potatoes. But yes, going into next year, reaching out, CSAs, the Black Farmers Index, is something to consider as well. And then also not wanting to sell the land. When I draft these farmers' wills, they don't know who to give the land to because their kids that are in their 60s, they don't want the land. They see it as a tax burden. They see it as being associated with slavery. And we have to get out of that mentality because white people are looking at the tax rolls, all the time, and they're itching, on bounty every day. And so,
Or to have just another alternative. So if they do, if the 60-year-old kids don't want it, then coming to a place like us or to a Lamar Wilson who will introduce you to, or somebody, so that at least it could stay within the community. And
yes, because there's Black land for sale right now near Huntsville, Alabama, if you all are interested. But yes, also being a group where if I know of a farmer that's selling land like in Huntsville, you all can buy it.
yeah, so we'll definitely keep up with you with regards to that. Antoine has a question for Holly, and then we're going to actually close up in 5 minutes. So Antoine is asking, Holly, will you have Zoom sessions for parents to talk about your book and its strategies? Do you have any Zooms coming up?
I don't, but that's a great idea. If there's interest, I'd be happy to pull something together. I have created a companion course for parents where I talk about these strategies for each different money habit. And if you want to go to my website, it should be on there. But if not, I'd be happy to send that to you. So it's holly@themasterplaybook.com. If you just want to shoot me an email or contact me via the website, I'd be happy to share. So yeah, we can talk. I did see one other question that somebody asked earlier.
Go ahead.
It was something about Roth IRAs and whether I think that the child have to have earned income, and the answer to that is yes. So the recipient, so parents can give to the child's Roth IRA, grandparents, anybody can give to that child's Roth IRA. The IRS wants the child to have earned income, but that includes streaming on Twitch. That could be babysitting. That could be lawn mowing. The IRS does not require like proof of a W-2. Of course, as a CPA, I'm gonna tell you, keep records of the amount your child has earned, maybe doing odd jobs throughout the year or whatever the case may be. So have record of it, and then that you should be fine. So I hope that answered your question. I think it was Sasha who may have asked that earlier.
So we are definitely going to invite Jillian to come back to a closed members only session because there are a lot of additional questions that we want to ask her that will be very strategic in nature. So if you are not a member, all I could say is $100 one-time lifetime payment.
Become a member.
Yes. Become a member, the10kproject.com, the10kproject.com. I also want to make sure that everyone knows that we have a couple of upcoming events as well. Tonight at 8 p.m., we have a family bank session about how to read your family bank's financial statements. So that's coming up. If you are interested in real estate investing in DC or Philly, that's tomorrow night at 7:30. And then, God help me, tomorrow night at 9 p.m., y'all know I don't go that late, but 9 p.m. tomorrow evening, there's a gentleman coming on who invests as a private investor in angel syndicates. And that is a bonus session for the family bank webinars. That's a bonus session of how you can actually invest your family assets. So that's 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. He's on the West Coast. I had to accommodate his working schedule. So we're just gonna be up super late if you want to chime in and come in for that. Then next week, y'all, Jerome's is coming to the 10K Project. I have a friend who is a lobbyist on Capitol Hill, and he has been lobbying for money for HBCUs, specifically from the Department of Defense. And all I can say is if you want a lively conversation about HBCUs and how they can add tens of thousands of STEM jobs to the Black community and the things that are happening there on the lobbying side, on the other sides, he and I have disagreements about his plan, but it's a well thought out plan. I just worry about the execution. So I don't want to stain it too much for you all. But I said, okay, if you want to come on, but we're going to have this lively conversation about that. So the question is, how can HBCUs help create tens of thousands of jobs in the Black community or something like that? That's next week, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So you all get to come and see that. Corey is asking Jillian, do you have a Cash App? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, yes, I do. I forgot what it was. Just a second, sorry.
It's okay.
People also
And
want to know
want to
where to
thank
get your book.
everybody so much. Jillian's books are available for purchase. Goodness, does anyone remember what the URL was? I know you all.
Oh, it's just my name. So JillianHishaw.com.
Perfect.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
definitely go to her website, get the books.
And then the Cash App, it's just my Cash App. It's not F.A.R.M.S.
Mhm.
For some reason, Cash App doesn't allow me to affiliate it with a nonprofit, but it's F.A.R.M.S 30,000. So, and that's all in caps, F.A.R.M.S 30,000.
Okay. And just know if you send by Cash App, I don't know what the laws are with regards to the IRS. You have to talk to Holly or your
Well,
CPA.
yeah, so if you want to purchase books, you can use the Cash App, but all of my books are on my separate website, personal site. So don't donate on Cash App to the nonprofit. Just go to 30,000 Acres and donate through the nonprofit's PayPal link, or you can mail a check of some sort.
Perfect.
So,
Well, we want to thank both of you for being
Yes,
here this
tremendous.
evening. It was a great conversation. The chat was lit tonight. So we always know it's a great conversation. We'll see everybody who's coming to the Family Bank Challenge at 8. Other than that, God bless everyone, and I hope you have a great evening. Don't forget the10kproject.com for membership, the10kproject.com for membership. Thank you so much. Have a
thank
great
you.